Hey all, welcome to ShareTrack. This is Raj here. Today I want to do something very different for this segment. I've taken a bunch of genomic companies that I'm really interested in and which I think are really good genomic companies, either because they have approved therapies or because they have intellectual property or because they are at the top of the genomics industry in terms of name recall. So whichever way you slice it, these are some of the top companies, and these are pure genomic companies I'm talking about. And my exercise is basically to try and figure out, without looking at the traditional method of looking at finances and the technical analysis and other things, just to look at how they have been performing overall. A very simplistic approach. I'm just taking some basic information and then working out some criteria, and then working out some matrices and then ranking them. So you will find this very interesting, and there are other things also we can do with this, but just as a change of scene, I thought I would do this video. So let's get started. So here we are in my spreadsheet. And as you can see on the top, I have the name of the companies. I have selected Bluebird, Caribou, CRISPR, Editas, Intelia, Beam, and Verve. And I'm going to be reading a little bit of this because some of you might be listening on the headphones without actually looking at the screen. So you can still know the companies that are here. And also we have on the left side, I have revenue for last quarters, last 4 quarters. These are all in thousands of US dollars. And the last 4 quarters happen to be up to Q2 of this year. So it has got 2 quarters from last year and 2 quarters from this year. So if you look at the stats for the revenue for the last 4 quarters and take other information like R&D expenses, general and administrative expenses, and total expenses for the last 4 quarters and check out the loss. So I have done that for all these companies. Then I have taken the number of items in the pipeline for these companies, and I've also taken the number of items in the pipeline which are in the clinical trial stage. And finally, I have a list of, I have a number of therapies which are in the pipeline but are in preclinical stage or in discovery stage. So I made a matrix like that. And then I also have number of employees for all these companies. The market cap as of today, this market cap is just in millions, and number of employees is just the hundreds. So that is the case where the thousands doesn't apply, which I have mentioned on the top. And also I have taken a measure of how much they have dropped in terms of their share price from the peak to now, as of today, before the market opened. Today is the 3rd of November 2022. And also have included the year in which they were founded. And then I have organized the companies based on the oldest company first and the newest company the last. So by that token, Bluebird finds its place at the very first column, and Verve finds the place at the very last column. And then I have done a little bit of fractions out here. I've taken the total number of employees and divided them by total expenses and divided them by the number of employees, so I can get expense per capita. And I have also divided the number of employees by pipeline items to get an idea of employees per pipeline as one of the measures to look at the efficiency with which the company operates. I believe that if you look at any typical organization, the hierarchy, if it's a very steep hierarchy, then it's going to have a lot of people reporting to multiple levels, and if it's a flat hierarchy, you'll have less number of people. I'm not saying one method is superior than the other. It depends on the nature of the business and the nature of business processes that are involved. But for a measure, I'm just trying to say that all these companies are working in the genomics industry. All of them are following the same methodology for clinical trials, for FDA, going through the same process. And it's the same vertical. Therefore, there should be some semblance of per capita employee needed per pipeline item. That's the way I'm looking at it, and I've derived this matrix here. And now I have the rankings, okay? So the first ranking is maximum drop from peak. that's where Bluebird comes first, because Bluebird has dropped the most. It has dropped 95% from its peak. So it's a red box out here. All the green boxes are positive matrices, and the red boxes are bad. So you can see that Editas and Intelia have not had any red or green out here. So in a way, they are better than the others, but there are some things I'd like to point out later on at the end of this presentation about Editas and Intelia that says not so fast. Okay, so max drop from peak. Bluebird has that demerit out there. Max employees per pipeline item. Bluebird is taking the cake here also, again negative. Bluebird has been reducing the number of employees in order to improve its cash runway, but still it has got 518 employees. And in comparison to the size of its pipeline, which had only 3 items, this looks very challenging out here. Least drop from peak. Here we have Beam Therapeutics making the cut out here. And I think they dropped only 68% as compared to the others. And least employees per pipeline item. I have a spelling mistake out here, so please forgive me. It's supposed to be least employees per pipeline item. The least employees per pipeline item. For that, I have Caribou Biosciences, which has done extremely well. They have only 18 employees per pipeline item. Whichever way they are structured, they're being very efficient. And if you look at max numbers of therapies in pipeline, we have CRISPR Therapeutics at the very top. They have astounding 22 therapies overall in their pipeline, and also they take the cake for maximum number of therapies in clinical trials. They have 5, which is the maximum that any of these companies have got. The close second is Intelia. And then if you were to look at least number in pipeline, we have Verve. Verve has got only 2 items in the pipeline. And then if we were to look at least number in clinical trials, it is Beam Therapeutics. They have 0 items in clinical trials as per the best of my knowledge. And if you look at max monetization candidates, it is again Bluebird, because they have Zynteglo and SkySona already in the monetization stage. Nobody else has got that, but many of these companies like CRISPR Therapeutics and Caribou are very close behind. Next, if we look at least total expense by employee, here I'm taking the total expenses incurred every year by this company for the last 4 quarters and divided it by the number of employees. Bluebird seems to come out much better out here, and they are coming in at $884 per employee. Whereas if you look at highest total expense per employee, I have almost got a tie out here with CRISPR Therapeutics and Beam. Both of them are coming at above $1,400, and they are at $1,439 and $1,455 respectively. And very close to them is $1,411 Intelia, which is very close to them, even though I haven't given any blue or red marks, green or red marks out here. And after that, it is Editas. So in all counts, I think Caribou Biosciences seems to be performing very, very efficiently, because the way I look at it, they should not have any demerit points. And on top of not having any demerit points, Caribou also has got a green advantage mark out here. So I think Caribou Biosciences looks overall really good. And if you look at the market cap, the maximum market cap that we have got, and if you check out all these companies out here, you have got Intelia at 3.88 billion, and they have the highest market cap so far, and the next highest is Beam, and after that it is Verve. So these are all companies with very, very high market cap, and considering the market cap and the number of therapies in the pipeline, Verve has got very less. So if you do that kind of a comparison, and yeah, so that was my look at all these companies from a very, very different angle, and I think I'm definitely impressed with the performance of Caribou Biosciences. All of you know that I think CB010, which is their lead allogenic therapy targeting B-cell non-Hodgkin lymphoma, is a winner. I have mentioned that in my earlier videos on Caribou Biosciences. In June of this year, they released data on CB010, and though the market tanked the share price immediately, I was quite impressed with that report. Firstly, the therapy is to be an off-the-shelf allogenic CD19 CAR T cell therapy, so it gets full marks from me when it comes to ease of distribution and monetization logistics. You don't need all the things that you have to set up at the hospital for the autologous therapies. And secondly, the data revealed a 100% overall response rate in 5 out of 5 patients, and 80% complete response rate in 4 out of 5 patients following a single dose of at the initial dose level in patients with aggressive lymphoma. This data makes CB010 the first allogenic CAR T cell therapy to achieve 100% ORR. So I think the results were quite impressive. Also, we have to keep in mind that the patients selected for this trial, dubbed the Antler trial, were difficult cases that had failed to respond to multiple prior lines of treatment. So I think the results were very good. I don't know why the market pushed them down. Someday I will find out. It could be some reason that I'm overlooking, but I think the results were pretty good. I'm bullish on Caribou Biosciences. So overall, we can see evidence that even though genomic shares have been beaten up badly by the market, it's not a random, reckless beating. Caribou has retained more value in the drop, and I think it will equally bounce back much faster when the markets improve. For all genomics companies that have licensed their CRISPR IP from sources other than Broad Institute, we should remember that there is a contingent liability that is going to be there for them, whether they mention it in the balance sheet or not. That is a liability of having to pay license fee to Broad Institute or their agent before commercializing the therapy. So on their part, Broad Institute have said that they want to make the technology broadly available. So I don't see much problem from Broad Institute. But the agents to whom Broad Institute would have given exclusive rights on CRISPR for distribution, they could have a problem with that. So we'll see what happens when things start unfolding. So well, my friends, that's all I have for you for today. And I hope you enjoyed this change of pace and change of flavor. And if you did, please do not hesitate to press the like out there. It makes a lot of difference to the channel. And also, if you are not yet subscribed, please subscribe and press the notify button. Pressing the notify button is important because I release 2 videos daily and there's daily fresh content. And you may want to know when the video is released, whether you want to see it immediately or save it for later. So pressing the notify button does that. So please do press the notify button. Thanks and have a great day. Bye for now.